Hello, today I'll be creating a simple connection using the socket in Python. So what we'll be working with will be Python, and if you don't have Python on your computer, the way you could be able to get it if you're using Windows or Linux or whatever operating system you're using, you go to your browser and you type google.com, and in there you just type download Python. I'm using Windows for my system, so I download Python for Windows, and I will go to this first link and I open it, and you see different versions you want to download. So you have the version 2.79, 3.4, 3.6, but in my case I'm using version 2.78. So you could just click on it and you'll be able to download. So that, I think that won't be too new for you. So things we should try to know regarding our connections which we want to establish today. We should need to know what a socket is, a server, and as well what a client is. So the socket is like an endpoint of a bidirectional communication channel, and the socket may connect between processes in one machine or maybe in different machines or thereabout. And as well, the socket here is going to act as a bridge between the client and as well the server. So what happens today, what will be happening today in our practical work which we'll be doing, what is going to happen is that the client will try to connect through the socket, the client connecting through this socket, and after which will be connected to the server as well. So that's just simple basically what we'll be doing today. And the server, we need to know what a server is and as well what a client is. So a server is something that offers you or can deliver you a particular service. That's what a server is. And as well, the client is someone that requests for that particular service. So that's what the client is in our case right now. So yeah, the socket will be acting as a bridge between the client and the server. So now we should just try to start working and with what we need to do. So what I'll try to do, I'll have Python on my system, so I go to search, I just bring out my Python. So we'll be working with this idle and Python GUI. This is where our code will be written in. So I come here and I try I open a new file, so I'll be able to type my codes in here. So first of all, we need to import the socket. So we import the socket. And another thing which we need to do, we should try to create a socket object. So that's what I'm doing right now, creating the socket object. So as well, we should try to assign a local machine loopback. So that is the IP4 address for the host variable. So here in my host, my IP, this is going to be the IP address for your system. So in order to know the IP address for your system, if you're using Windows, so I'll go to my command prompt, cmd. Hold on a second. cmd. So I type in ipconfig. This is to know the IP for your laptop, the internet protocol for your laptop, or for your computer or what you'll be using. So if you're using Linux, you could use if configuration, ifconfig. So my IP here is 192.168.1.100. so that will be what I'll be using today, 192.168.1.100. Alright. So we should try to create a port too. So here my port will be 80. So I'll be using 80 as my port. So the port reserve. So now the next step we need to take, we have to create a bind socket. That is, we try to bind the socket to the host and to the port. So by binding, you're telling the server where it should be connected to. That's what we're trying to do right now. So the sbind address, it actually it binds the address and the host port number pair to the socket. So another thing we should try to we'll be able to write the s listing. So the listing, this we are trying to set up and start the TCP list now. So we should know what the TCP is. That the transmission control protocol, which provides the connection between the application program and as well with the IP. So that's what the TCP is. So we'll be listening 5 times. So another thing now we need to do, we need to establish the connection between the client with the client. So this is the code we'll be using. Y true, we first of all have to write Y true, then C comma address, then equal to s dot accept, and in parentheses. So the s accept, it accepts the TCP client connection and waiting until the connection arrives. That is, it's trying to accept the connection which the TCP will be sending and wait for the connection till it arrives. That's what the s accept does. And the next thing we'll be doing, we'll try to print the message which we'll be getting. So when you get the connection, so we print the connection which we're going to get from the address. Then the message which the server will be sending to the client when it gets the connection from the client to the server. So this is what we'll be writing this time around. That is the csend command. So what we'll be sending right now will be thank you for connecting, but you could send whatever message you want to send. So when we finish with this practical work right now, I'll just try to send different messages to the client. So now we'll close the connection which we already trying to establish. See close between the server and the client. So now we're through with the server. So we have to save what we gotten. So we save it as a Python file, that is py. So we save as server. So I've done this about twice on my system. So right now I'll be saving it as server3.py. So py serves as a Python file. Okay, use pyw. So now what we need to do, we have to create the connection for the client. Now we have to establish a new connection for the client. So we create our client. So as we started initially we import the socket. So after importing the socket, so we create the socket object again, same step which we took the first time. So as I explained earlier, the host, this time around the host name which we'll be using the host name for the client. It could be different machines, but right now I'm using my own one computer, one machine right now. So the host name will still remain the same IP address which I had initially for my system. So the IP address for my system, as I told you earlier on, is 192.168.1.100. so that's what I'll be inserting here. Then the port is 80, you could put any number here, so it varies, so any number you put is okay. So we try to connect again now, so we try to initiate the connection between the TCP servers. So the connection between the host and the port, that's what we'll be trying to initiate right now. So we use the s.connect code command. So we connect the host, we use the parentheses, the bracket. We shouldn't forget, most of these brackets are very important in our connections. So then the message which we'll be receiving will print s.receive. So if we put a parenthesis in s after print, so it means we'll be printing this message. So right now this is, we just leave it at print 1024, then after that we close the connections. Let's close. So we save what we've done so far again. So we save it as well as client. So I'll be saving it as client3.py, just as the Python, as a Python file. That's how I'll be saving it. So now we'll finish establishing it. So we just run our server. So we run our server and run our client to see if we're going to get the message which we connected. So there's something wrong here, so let's check and correct our work. Okay, all right. So the IP is here, the host. Yes, okay, so so let's try to figure what is wrong with our connection. Alright, let me try to change the port so we can see. Okay, so we try to run and see. We change the port to 1 2 3 4. So we run. Hold on. Okay. So we got a connection from the server, and the message which we sent from the server to the client, thank you for connecting, is what we receive right now. So you could see it already. Hold me a second. Thank you for connecting. So let's try to change the message which we'll be sending to the server, from the server to the client, and see what kind of message you'll be getting this time around. Let's just put something like Merry Xmas, because it's a Christmas already. So Merry Christmas. Then we save and we run. So you see the message we got is Merry Xmas. So we connected, we got the connection from 192.168.1.100. so that is the IP address in which we got the connection from the server. So we could put as many messages we want to send from this from the server to the client in our server, and we could keep on receiving different messages to the client. So as we put s list, that means 5 clients can be connected to this server. So we could put number of times which we want from in this place. in the S listing. So thank you so much for watching. So I hope you understood everything which we did today, and you should try to know the socket. What the socket is, as I explained earlier, is the bridge between the client and the server in our connections already. So you know what the client is and the function of the client, and as well the function of the server. So thank you so much for your time.